Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 22 of Egginburgh, our Cities Skylines 2 series. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Just enjoying a little stroll through the transport hub, enjoying the skyline actually. What is wrong with your face? You see that? You like warped into existence as you got closer to us. But there are still a few interesting looking Sims knocking about. That's an interesting choice of mustache. We won't hover on that one for too long. But either way, everyone, welcome back to Egginburgh. I've just been enjoying the first person walk around the city and really enjoying the views up to the skyline that we developed over the last few episodes. Now, we have spent those last few episodes really developing the city centre of Bourbon, so I want to take a break from it today. We're actually going to head to the other side of the highway over here. Because I want to start work on the airport, and indeed a little bit of that kind of low density American sprawl that we've been quite keen to get over here as well. So we'll start working on this side of the highway today. So the key bit of infrastructure I want over here is of course the airport. So I reckon we're going to crack these 5 tiles, should be enough I think. Wonderful. So this gives us a pretty decent space to work with, but I imagine the terrain over here is going to be pretty gnarly, isn't it? Looks like it's going to be. So let's first of all get the big chungus down. So I think in Egginburgh, I'm not ever going to place the international airport. I really don't like the look of the asset. So I think we're just going to have a small kind of regional airport, I suppose, rather than like a major kind of international complex. So if I was to place this here, now I'd like to have it sort of parallel with the highway really. So the runway configuration kind of goes off over the water. And you should, hopefully, be able to see it from the highway. So this is the first time I've actually seen this asset. So let's have a look at what upgrades it has. So we can add a business lounge. Where does this go? I didn't see where that was, but that's fine. And we can also add a cargo terminal over here as well, which does add some train functionality into the airport, which we could make use of. We do have trains over here. We also do have a train line over here as well that I wouldn't mind bringing into it. But I do like here how we're kind of sat on the elevation. Although I almost think, just because of how we're doing it here, it's going to be quite a pain to work in the cargo hub, isn't it? So I think we will actually not have the cargo terminal on this airport. It's likely we might place another airport at some point as the city continues to grow, possibly maybe over here where we can have a look at having the cargo terminal imported, because we do have trains over here, so it'd be easier to integrate into that one. But I think until that point, we'll just go with the regular passenger setup here. So I guess we'll add, oh, that's where we added it on. Okay, it's there. Yes, we'll have that there, and then we'll also have airport services as well, I guess. It's going to make sense, I think, isn't it? So before we start doing the roads, I want to make sure that at least the front of the airport is quite flat, because I'm going to want to place quite a few car parks out of there. So let's also push this back as well. It's likely we'll probably open that tile as well, because I want to terraform through there. And let's also delete this road here too. So we're going to have a little bit of a drop down to the airport, which should be quite nice, I think, for the kind of whole suburb design as a whole once it all comes in. But we'll worry about that when we get to it. We will do some of that low density suburbia today. So up to there should be enough room. And then this kind of awkward lip here will just soften out, putting it back into the landscape. And that should be okay. So now I've got that in, let's go ahead and draw in our roads against the airport. So let's go about there, and then we'll feed it off down this way as well. Also get rid of the trees here as well, just so we've got a little bit of a clearer sight line. Let's have a look at some sort of park here. I'd love to have just something out the front. Maybe that one's a little big. Maybe I actually prefer the small plaza out the front instead. We also do the large city park as well, I suppose. Not too bad, I suppose, is it? It's the first time I've ever noticed the concert area there as well. We'll have those there. Let's choose our parking. So we could use the multi-story, which I think would be appropriate. I actually wonder if we were to trim off these edges here, could we have you centralized within the space, which I think we can, which I quite like, actually. I think we'll keep that in. Definitely lots more parking as well, though. The large parkings here, there's also just the regular large ones as well, which do sit and fit, which is always a sign to go ahead with it, isn't it? So I think we'll do that. So airports, of course, not that this is a major international complex, but even regional airports tend to have a significant amount of parking, so we would just place these in and kind of eye that up in general. I don't hate the configuration. I could almost actually envision kind of backing these onto each other to kind of make extra large car parks, I suppose. So why don't we just experiment with that? The distance here, I have to, this way to redraw is 80, so let's crack that open. And then from this node here, we'll do 72. That should allow us to squeeze, we're actually a little bit too much there. So 144 meters is what we want there to back it onto each other. Yeah, I don't mind having the fence there. Of course, the alternative would be to use very large parking lot, but what do these things actually look like? I don't think I've even placed one of these down before, have I? I don't mind this actually, because it's got the security booth on it, it kind of makes it look like it's kind of maybe valet parking. Yeah, there's that service at airports, isn't there? I can't remember what it's called. It's like you basically arrive at the terminal and then someone comes and takes your car for you and parks it in a secure lot rather than leave it in a public lot like this, so maybe we'll have that somewhere else. I'm just going to leave it down the road for right now. But I'm pretty happy with back-to-back zonings here with the large parking lots, and it looks like there's just a little squiggle of room there for an alleyway to come in as well. I think it's a larger airport parking configuration. I'm quite happy with that. Now let's get this set up on the other side as well. Fabulous. I think. Actually really happy with that. Quite nice, isn't it? I don't want to say nice because it's obviously horrific car parking, but it's very American, which is the theme of Bourbon, which we'll be happy with. So we'll keep that in there. So let's turn our attention here towards the road hierarchy about how we're going to get people into the airport. So the biggest road in Bourbon is coming down kind of Main Avenue here, isn't it? So I reckon we'll probably upgrade this one here into 4-lane now, which you can see here it's going to kind of like throw it off on the angle. We don't really want that to happen. So let's turn off snap to existing geometry and just want to eyeball that. Probably out there. Gonna be quite good, I think, isn't it? Don't think I want the 6-lane coming through the suburb. That'll be quite as chunky as Central Bourbon, this outer line suburbia. Now we can have this one run down. And I guess we'll just redraw this one from this point. And we'll come straight up through this way. Let's have a look at our topography here as well. We are heading slightly uphill, but I think what we will do is actually slope out here. So let's grab this height. And I want to push that up toward it. Probably do the same here as well. We're going to redraw this street as well. I'm going to try blend those layers back in. There we go. That should make the roads a little more palatable, I think. And then the ultimate goal here is to have this 4-lane chungus come down to meet up with this one over here, which we will have 4 lanes come into this way. Now, it's likely we might end up configuring a one-way system out front of the airport. You often find, especially at least UK airports I've visited to, it's very rarely 2-way. Around the terminals, you kind of fed into a one-way loop. So let's hit the road guideline here with the curve tool. We'll feed it straight in together, which is going to help break up our grid as well. And we'll keep forming up the smaller suburban grid roads around these curvier arterials. I think it'll be quite nice as well. But, we'll get to that when we come to it. So, I mean, that should provide power and water for you all anyway. You're all happy now? Yes, you are indeed. So let's go ahead and get up our first flight path setup, shall we? So please leave the names of your cities down below, so I can have some flights depart from Egginburgh to your cities. I think that'd be pretty cool. We did that as well with our trains, didn't we? So we'll have one route here, and I guess now we need to find an outside connection, don't we? So, pretty sure that's Palaven over there, isn't it? Navaria's that way. So why don't we have this or outside connection here is going to go to Orchid Bay, which they don't know. You can follow our Cities Skylines 1 Vanilla series on the channel. So it's going to go to Orchid Bay, which is up here. Now I hope that's going to be a sensible flight trajectory. Of course, in Cities 1, the planes were famously insane for just taking the most ridiculous trajectories off the runway. But hopefully that's not the case in CS2. Let's wait and find out, won't we? So, I'm not sure how immediate the flight is, but we'll hopefully spot it as it comes in. Whilst that's going on, let's also turn our attention toward some low-density housing. So against our highway here, I'd like a pretty similar situation to what we've got going on over this side. So some commercial and office space that's not directly on Orchid Street, which is quite funny, isn't it? Because they've just been talking about Orchid Bay. They know this is Orchard, though. It's different, but sounds sort of similar, doesn't it? So I don't mind that there. So why don't we kind of set up some little strip mall configurations here before we kind of come into low density suburbia. So let's bring up a road, and we're going to come right to the tip here without connecting in. That's quite an interesting junction, that, isn't it? That's actually, you see a lot of that when we look building ILOs. You have some pretty interesting frontage networks. I don't mind that at all. I think we'll actually keep it just as little access onto the frontage. Yeah, I think that's quite cute. It looks like we do need to just correct some of our zoning here with a quick pathway. So we'll do that as well. And then we'll chuck in some, we want a couple of medium parking lots here. It will have medium over this corner. So let's get some commercial spaces zoned up. We'll have all of this here to be commercial. And also get some office space in here as well. And mix and match the two. So as long as the zoning isn't directly on the Orchid Street here, the highway slip, I'll be pretty happy with that. But it's also worth connecting in here as well. I think we'll go for it. Let's get those zonings coming back in as well. Cool. So we can have a little bit of a strip mall here facing in onto the highway. And then we'll go ahead and get a lot of those single family homes down. So I want big sprawl here. Let's make sure we come onto our North American theme. And we'll have, do we want to do 6x6 lots? I guess that grid structure is already pretty friendly toward those. We could have that there. Even though the game is telling me not to put residential on these roads, but it doesn't have a choice because that's what I want to do. Yeah, let's keep up lots of big 6x6 lots here. I also wouldn't mind having some more fire service over here too. So we've used this before. It's kind of like a repurposed church, which has been pretty cute. The firehouse, it does look kind of like a chapel. We did it over in Whiskey for that first time we did, if you remember, quite a while ago now, wasn't it? But now we have the fine stuff mod, I believe, that we can grab tombstones, which should hopefully lead to a little bit more convincing of a church complex, I think. So let's place down our chapel. Something like that. Of course, which is also functioning as a firehouse. And then if we got the fine sub mod, I guess if we search for tombstone, not filtering for roads, of course. Yeah, we do. We can actually get quite a number of them. It's tombstone 8. Yeah, there's a big variety. There's a whole bunch of different ones, isn't there? Have we got some, like, maybe little crypts or something, maybe? I don't think we do. I'm actually interested to see if these can be picked off of the graveyards, because obviously they must be here. Ah, yeah, you can, yeah. So with the picker tool that comes with the fine stuff mod, you can pick at each of these individual graves. Which is very exciting. Yeah, you can get all this stuff around here. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't look like there is kind of a crypt, if you like, so don't think we can have that yet. But that's okay. Just want to make a small little tiny one anyway. So let's just grab some regular tombstones. We'll stick these on a line tool. And we want to rotate them. Bring the distance down quite a bit too. A lot more than that actually. And we'll just amend their rotation. So they're roughly facing forward. 280 degrees seems to be the barometer there, doesn't it? So to place a few of these out here, we'll do a few rows. And I think what we will do once we've got the rows in, so we'll see how far we have the road here. Yeah, so that's not too bad. So we'll get in a few repetitions, and then we'll come back to singular placement, and then let's just remove the occasional one just to break up the pattern a little bit. Something like this should suffice. And then we can just intersperse with different headstones. Perhaps more affluent families, or those that care about the dead more than others, have been stored throughout the graveyard. We'll move that one over a little bit. Try and keep them in some sort of pattern. Let's grab ourselves a tree as well. And we'll turn off our find it function. And then we can have also our elderly and teen oaks in as well. And we can have some oaks dotted about the graveyard. And we'll also do our best to find a nice fence as well for our graves here. And the little wooden fence would be quite nice actually. So we can put this on a line tool and then do fence mode as well. And then with this here, we'll probably just, I reckon, extend it out of that one. Then we can have a little fence box in our graves. And just create a little sort of mini spot of personality for a graveyard within the suburb. Hopefully as we kind of walk past this here at least in our first person mode. A big view down to the downtown from here as well, isn't it? Very nice indeed. You can just sort of glimpse through into the graveyard. And that should hopefully be pretty convincing, ignoring the firefighters sign on the front of the church, of course. Otherwise, a pretty cute graveyard, isn't it? I don't mind that at all. But we'll certainly flesh this out during our detail and time lapse, I think. Hopefully we'll be seeing some of our suburbia grow up eventually, although nothing is growing here, is it? Let's fix that then. Let's go ahead and give people some parks. We'll have a small park here. We'll also grab some sports parks as well. Let's do little basketball courts outside town. You can get a larger sports pitch in here as well. Looks like these blocks are made to fit and sit in American field, doesn't it? So let's have that one here. Cool. So let's also start piecing together our roads with the airport here. So you're probably going to come out and there's no major plans for this. We're just going to dead end somewhere over here with whatever ends up being around this end of the highway. But I would like further connections into the airport networks from here as well. Something to that effect. And let's go ahead and just time lapse up the rest of this grid formation as well. I'm pretty happy with that grid formation there. These roads here, I imagine, will probably head up to the hillside at some point. So we did have actually a request from last episode that we put something up here because of the view from the central park. It said they wanted to have something on the viewpoint here, right on top of that hill, which would place it about there. So I reckon probably one of the more, I guess, quirky, unique buildings, one of the landmarks would probably do quite well up there, I think. Maybe the Bell Tower of Jayan, if that's how you pronounce that. Maybe we can have this up here. Be a pretty special viewpoint from there, wouldn't it? Or there's also Nam Damon. Am I pronouncing that right either? Sounds a bit like Matt Damon, doesn't it? Yeah, one of these up here on the hillside. Maybe we can do kind of a mountaintop temple. Maybe, might be quite cool. So that's probably where these roads will lead eventually. We'll have a nice little switchback system going up the hill there to provide that eventual view from Bourbon Central Park. So something to look forward to in the future anyway. But let's also pop down some schools around here as well, because we do still have enormous elementary deficits. So I'd like probably 1 or 2 schools knocking around at this particular area. We'll have one here. And I'm really hoping the elementary capacity gets patched soon, because you have to place so many of these things. So let's keep up with that demand, at least. And we've also got some more customizable space around here now, haven't we? With these sorts of buildings. And of course, with the surface painters now, we can really extend them. So we can do that as well. Let's also give this one a playground. And starting to build on slightly more awkward terrain here now, aren't we? We are indeed. But still not getting anyone growing in. I know the game says it's not suitable here. I wonder why that is. Is that because you're close to the highway? I mean, we've got low density close to the highway here. But I guess the roads are green. I think with that in mind then, I think we're going to strode up. What street is this? Pleasant Street. So let's crack the zonings off of the sides here. And then we'll have some classic North American commercial on the main road. Start getting that growing up over here as well. Down this side. So on your way down to the airport, passing through lots of commercial high street. Got this down there, intersperse a few little parks and recreation along the way as well. Have some over there. Hopefully this will start making city a bit more appealable to low density res. We'll have some up here as well. Let's get these guys growing. Where it says they will. Yeah, I wonder why. I'm not actually sure what affects that then. Is it proximity to a highway? Or proximity to main roads? Let's have a look at the residential desirability of whiskey. Yeah, there's lots of low density here. That apparently is unsuitable. But once they're in, granted there's a ton of asset repetition, everyone's got a pool, but they're here. So hopefully that will actually grow in at some point. I actually wouldn't mind, now I'm remembering, having a little bit of row housing out here. Let's do some North American row housing. So I think for a few tiles, I just want the zoning facing the main street as such. And again, we'll also get some office in here too. I'll make sure we keep satiating the office demands. So how are we doing for unemployment in the city at this point? We haven't checked for a while, have we? Have a little look. Workplace availability. Oh, it's under population, isn't it? 9.6% unemployment. So we definitely want some more commercial and office knocking about. And I suppose we can actually transition here then. Let's do some North American row housing. We'll do 60, I guess, while we've got the room for it. And then we'll have all this here as well. And then we can do the sides. Have a little walk down our strip mall, shall we? If we don't get stuck in the electricity pylon. So we'll walk through forest. Yeah, I love that little frontage network there. That's quite spicy, that, isn't it? Do like that. You can kind of cross over the two pavements. Granted, I think you need Anarchy to get that close, but You could also do something pretty similar as well without panicky turned on. Cool. And then parking lots and commercial. That's exactly what I want to see here. Kind of on that highway frontage. So our row housing is not behaving itself. Let's make sure we correct that one there. Go. Now it's okay. So where does the suitability for low density actually start? So can we do this block here? Also want this block to be low density as well. Yeah, they are starting to grow upon the red now, I guess. It just takes a long time for them to come in. I guess they're also not going to grow here as well. So the residential suitability indicates generally good areas for residential zones in terms of workplace and city service availability. Okay then, let's provide city services. We got a fire station, of course. Let's also do a police station. Lots of sits and fits there, isn't it? So yes, please. We'll also give you your upgrade as well. Do you want to pick any upgrades on the fire station? I guess we will. Does that affect our roads? So maybe the orange has slightly crept down here a little bit, doesn't it? Let's see if we can... Oh, I don't really have 3 elementary schools in close proximity to each other, but there's not a vast amount I can really do about it with the current demands. Let's have some more playgrounds around here. Yeah, so that is forcing a few more low density res to grow now. They are even starting to grow on red roads. Not sure, again, with just the current state of this simulation, whether or not that's enormously intended or not. I'm just not sure. But either way, the suburb now is starting to grow up a little bit. Yeah, it's North American row housing through here as well. Which will back onto our graveyard quite nicely too, I think. Cool, well there we go. Let's have a look at the plane, shall we? Let's give him a little follow. 4 people and 2 dogs on board. Not many, not many people want to go to Orchid Bay, which is fine. I'm not surprised really with the approach of Orchid Bay's airport. It's pretty squeaky bum time, isn't it? So we can enjoy a plane taking off here. Without the Bourbon skyline in the background. And we're going to take off. It is. That seems a better trajectory, doesn't it, than does it in CS1? And you're going to go straight up and fly to Orchid Bay, which is wonderful. Fantastic. Cool. Yeah, so don't forget to get your city names down below so we can send some flights off to your cities as well. I always really like doing that. So I think between the suburb here and the airport, I'd like a little bit of probably green space and trees and whatnot. But then definitely around the car parks here, I think we'll also get some office and commercial growing up. At least I don't want to zone on that main road there, I don't think. And yeah, I think we'll keep it all low density. I was maybe going to ponder some higher density over here, but I don't think it's particularly necessary. Not residential here. How is this suitable for residential? Well, this isn't. What the hell? How does that work? Don't tell me residential is going to grow outside the bloody airport. It is as well. What? What? Makes no sense at all. Okay, I'm not paying any attention to this residential suitability then, because that's just bollocks, isn't it? Why would people want to live outside the terminal, but sleepy American suburbia? They're like, oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Whatever, idiots. And yeah, a little bit more office over here as well. Cool. So I'd also like some public transport here as well. Being in CS Vanilla, you could have a train station come down. Now, God, that is a full ship, isn't it, over that? That is loaded with cargo. Coming from Bavaria always makes me smile every time I see that. Just imagine these big ships pulling into Bavaria's massive cargo harbour just to export back out again. Very exciting. We could have a train arrive. I feel it might be a little bit overkill though. Oh, look at the plane coming in. There we go. Have you come from Orchid Bay? Oh, you have. With 15 people. Wonderful. It's getting more and more popular by the second, isn't it? Yeah, so in terms of public transport for the airport, it's a shame there isn't a bus add-on here for the building. Then that would have been quite appropriate, wouldn't it? But why don't we go for bus station. So where we can squeeze this in. Could have it here up on the corner next to the office buildings, I suppose. And the box this in as a bit of airport infrastructure, maybe. I actually wouldn't mind using some bus-only roads for this as well. Let's just turn on side of building and angle snapping, I think, for that. Yeah, I could definitely, because you're going to come quite nicely out of there, aren't you? Let's do some curve and a guideline here. And also cell length as well. Cool. So that should be pretty good. So I think we will configure the roads into a one-way network around here, I think. So coming into the airport, you will filter off this way, which is fine. Buses that can then continue into their station before turning off onto the one-way bus road to get back into the loop, which will feed them through this way. And then to exit out of the airport, you can continue out like that. Will also allow an entrance into the airport from this way as well. So you will come down here. And then back into that, which does allow the loop to complete. These internal roads, I don't think there's a need for them to really be one-way. Because obviously we can't have one-way alleyways anyway. So I think we'll keep that internal system just two-way, that's fine. You also need to be one-way as well. And then for any cars kind of leaving the complex from this side, we'll also send them off down that way. How are we doing for taxi availability? Where's our taxi depot? It's over here, isn't it? 30 for 30. Okay, well let's stick a new taxi depot over here too. We will grab taxis which are here. And you're gonna fit in there. It's like you will. We'll have you part of our airport complex. We'll also do dispatch center and electric taxis and garage extension. Cool. Have a couple of garages on that. Yep. I'll probably have some more taxis knocking about. That should hopefully send out quite a few more to keep people moving around. And then we can also keep transferring buses now. So there's definitely... Then again, do we need more buses as well? Yeah, there's a spare loop here, isn't there? On our bus hub. So let's set up this bus route and then we'll do some detailing. So we'll have... There's already one on there, isn't there? Yeah, so we got to stop here. You're going to come down the wonderful Stroads of Bourbon. Cross over the highway. Stopping at a number of places on the main road. Special. Then it's going to come into the airport, stop there, then it's going to come back out the airport. It can pick up... And then again, it's coming back this way. It's going to come back out the one-way system, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't need to stop anywhere else but there then. And then we'll get our bus line tour. So from Bourbon Transport Centre, we're going to come out from here. Then going to come down onto the Superstrode. Although you are now diverting away, which is a little annoying, which means maybe we want to upgrade this road here to now be two-way. Someone actually did say that they can be two-way when we set this highway frontage system up, so I think we will do that. It means we need to redraw again though, doesn't it? That's fine. Let's do our bus line. So here. Onto the Strode. And then head all the way through town. Then just come stop at any platform. And as Bourbon continues to grow out around this, we can now feed many more bus lines into the airport. Come down here. This would be a nice little kind of airport express service that allows people to converge all the way back with the Bourbon Transport Centre. It should be quite fun when that's all up and running. I guess we'll kind of wait and find out, won't we? See some of that low density coming in as well now, which is very nice, isn't it? Has our usage changed here at all? No, it is getting more orange as it peels down this way. I'm not sure if it's maybe something tied into the simulation or not. Not sure on that one. But either way, I would like all of this to be low density suburbia, so it will grow. Yeah, see, now it grows on the red. whatever. Makes no sense sometimes, does it? Either way, we've got a lot of detail to do. When I finish off the graveyard, get the rest of this suburbia growing up as well with a few more parks and a little bit of terrain correction where needed to sort stuff like that out. Bring that forest back and two between the airport and then detail up everything else in between it. Otherwise, let's detail up the Lower Bourbon suburb and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, let's have a little detail review, shall we? So there's something about building in American style in CS too that's very appealing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact the game just has some quite nice American looking apartments, maybe. Maybe that's what's selling it to me. I'm not entirely sure. But I can certainly feel an American inspired build coming on after Egginburgh. But either way, we'll head down the Strode. We've introduced a little bit of asymmetry here into the under highway crossing, just to give people some more turning options. And whilst we're also talking about that, we have also improved our slip lanes off of the Montgomery-inspired highway system. There was a little bit of traffic beginning to bottleneck here around this very basic setup, so a couple of slip lanes and a little bit of asymmetry has really helped with the traffic flow here. As you can now see, they've got a dedicated lane to come off here, take the left turn if they want to totally avoid this intersection, and likewise a couple more turning options here always goes a long way as well. But we do have the kind of Lower Bourbon suburb in now, and there's a great viewpoint from over here actually, just right on the edge of town with all these kind of low density houses in the foreground, and a real nice gradual crawl, which the medium density row housing really contributes to, doesn't it? I'm really thankful for that additional zoning in CS2. I love the row housing. So apartments occasionally, and then little spikes of office, couple of taller towers, and then of course the main skyline to Bourbon. So really enjoying the view here. Maybe we can actually hop into someone's back garden in our first person perspective, which I always really enjoys. That this guy's like, where the hell are you going? So don't worry, mate. Just checking out the view from your garden. So he's got a little deck in here, hasn't he? Very nice. Couple of sun lounges. A pretty nice place to sit out and enjoy the view, isn't it? So really glad that we kept that layer of height in, despite the fact his laundry is kind of tipping down the hill. Look at the resolution of that texture on the laundry, man. It's insane, isn't it? Pretty nuts, that, considering that's on like every low density house as well. But either way, they do have a tremendous view across to central Bourbon now. We'll head on to the main Strode, where we do have our configured strip mall stuff now. We are getting people actually using this frontage network too, which I'm really thankful for. I've seen a couple of trucks just kind of take this exit back on, rather than going all the way back around. There you go, there's the taxi using it right there. So really happy with that. Nice little kind of anarchy accident, I guess, this one here. Pretty cute. And then we'll come down with lots of fencing around our graveyard. We've also got a little kind of back entrance into it here as well, using some of the fence in the pathways, which people are actually using. I think these people here are going to come take this pathway now, which is very exciting. And then, yeah, little custom graveyards always make a nice addition to a high street, don't they? There's a really nice view from over here, actually, kind of with the highway in the foreground. I ended up tweeting this picture. It's, yeah, just a really nice kind of like low, small town America vibe to it, especially with this little elevated highway flowing across. So I really enjoyed the way the main street came up. Again, littered with kind of apartments, mix and match of commercial and office, row housing where possible and needed. And then some simple embellishments that we've done before at the back of elementary schools, just to give the back of them a bit more purpose, like those concrete textures do just extend. We've also done the same over here as well with this one, a couple of different patterns and whatnot, so thank God for those surface painter textures, they are a lifesaver. I've also added in a med clinic and a crematorium, which I realise is a little bit morbid, but the crematorium doesn't really look like a crematorium, but it's more like a kind of government building, really, doesn't it? Kind of like a local authorities sort of building. A bit more of a town centre vibe to it, I'd say, very similar to the tax office from CS1. For those familiar with your unique buildings. So it does some death care for Lower Bourbon as well. And then this is all lined with commercial. I did want this to be residential initially, but it just wasn't growing, which is super annoying. It's such a ridiculous mechanic. That's suitability thing, isn't it? Because they'd rather live outside an airport terminal than a suburban road. I'm assuming, based on that, what we've seen today, that mechanic is currently bugged. I haven't seen it mentioned by CEO in any report, but I'm guessing it's not working as intended. So when it does work, we can fill out the rest of Lower Bourbon. And then the green belt and the forest belt just kind of flows down here now. We've got a couple of roundabouts on entrances into the airport complex, which looks pretty cool. Now, it's pretty quiet. There's not a vast amount of people parking here, but again, don't forget to get your city names down below so I can send some flights from Egginburgh out to them, which will hopefully make the airport a little bit busier. And there are a few people actually using the bus line here, which is nice to see them getting off to come to the airport and then walking out of the station here, and also at its counterpart station in the transport hub. It's this line here. Is this one of the buses? No, that's one of the other ones, isn't it? But yeah, this third line on the left is the airport line. So that is starting to get a little bit of use now. More people arriving to converge with more public transport methods with the intercity trains over here and the trams, of course. So that's just fueling that to make it busier and busier. And then a little bit of office space around here, which all links back to a bridge that now connects into the wider networks that flow into Inverness. And Bourbon is really starting to kind of envelop Inverness now. And speaking of what's going to happen over here, I did actually check for a harbour over here, actually, and it looks like it will fit pretty nicely. So I reckon we can do a bit of a industrial port down here, which should be quite a nice complement to the airport. And we've also got great highway access here should we need to rework this interchange to get highway traffic directly into the port for more import function for the city. So I think with this space here, we can expect an industrial harbour to crop up at some point as Bourbon continues to envelop Inverness. And speaking of that envelopment now, it's also a really nice view from the suburbs of Inverness. Kind of just being swallowed up by that American sprawl, which I really like. It's almost like one day Inverness will become just a suburb of Bourbon, which I really like, that kind of growing expanse as it just then pulls everything in around it. Almost like a bit of a black hole, isn't it? So that's really cool. I really like how all that turned out. And then, yeah, just a nice little sleepy lower town suburb with a smaller regional airport, which the car parks make an enormous difference to help us diesel, don't they? And we always have a beautiful view looking back down the main road back into the city centre as well. Otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. Let's thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for supporting CS2 and CS1 content on the channel. Likes, comments, and shares below always help the channel to grow. Should you have the time, if you want to get involved in supporting the channel a little bit further, definitely check out Instant Gaming. Always a fabulous deal to be had there. And don't forget to check out our Patreon as well if you want access to Patreon podcast. We've got interviews there with Biffa, View Candy, City Planner, alongside some solo chats with myself, early access, previews, lots of fun stuff over there. So if you want to get a bit more involved with Egg, then that is all linked down below for you. Otherwise, I'm really happy to continue building up Bourbon. It's a really fun start of building the more kind of North American US style, like we're doing this side of the river. So I'll be over here for a few more episodes yet. I think I want to use a few more of those big chunky unique buildings in Bourbon before we kind of wrap it up and head elsewhere across the map. But otherwise, please do enjoy some cinematics from today's additions into the city, but I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.